And don't you think, Amy, it's important to note that United Way is so immersed in the region and working with partners like NCSS and others, we know that there's very good work going on in our region. So how do we make sure that we're boosting those efforts?
Yeah, and I think, from a perspective of someone who might be watching this not that familiar, it's the fact that what you're really doing is it's just a collaboration of organizations, individuals, donors to try to address the most pressing needs in all the communities on a local level, whatever those might be. And Amy did a great job of expressing what they are right now.
Right.
And speaking of volunteers, which is such a critical component in this entire mix, what is the role of volunteers in deciding what the United Way does in our community?
So I'll say a little bit about that. The volunteers play the lead role from the beginning to, throughout our process of what United Way does in the community. So they determine the priorities that we will focus on, and then they also determine the investment of resources. So for example, many people know that United Way funds programs across our region that are providing really important and high quality services to the community. And those programs apply for funding from United Way, and we have teams of volunteers that review the applications, weigh the opportunities, and make the decisions around how much funding and which programs receive funding. And they do that on a 3-year cycle. Those volunteers also make recommendations and decisions for how United Way can invest additional financial resources to help communities with strategic initiatives where you're looking at changing systems and trying new ideas. Those same volunteers also look at how can United Way staff time contribute to community efforts. Can we be helpful in convening partners? Can we be helpful in contributing to work that partners are doing and being part of community initiatives? We also, in addition to volunteers making decisions around the types of work that we will do, we are also looking at ways to recruit volunteers within the community to support United Way's work and initiatives, but particularly to support the work of hundreds of nonprofits and organizations across the community. So those are some of the different types of things that we might do for our work, and all of that is overseen and directed and evaluated by volunteers from the community representing all 3 counties in our region.
And I think what's extremely interesting is the fact that there are some very important services and programs throughout the community that if it wasn't for United Way partially funding or fully funding that particular initiative, it would go away. And I think people need to understand how the United Way operates and how critical it is as a fabric of the community in trying to figure out, how best to utilize the funds.
I think the volunteers take that work so seriously. Yes. They work year-round as a team, engaging with the community, understanding the programs. They just completed a process of doing a review of all the programs to see what are the challenges, how are things going, what are the needs. So the volunteers feel very proud, and they should feel very proud of the work that they do to make those difficult decisions and to really understand the needs and respond to them.
Yeah. Now, Paul, you're a part of the United Way team that works in our community here locally. You're based here. And tell me about the role that you play and about some of the work that you're currently doing.
Well, first I have to tell you, on a personal note, how amazing it feels. And I just have the best job in the world. And mostly because being in all 3 counties and really getting a chance to work with some of our community partners and our community members who are just working to make a difference and really giving of themselves. The United Way really does things in a united way by bringing people in the community together, and it's just amazing to be a part of that. I think I'm part of a larger team, so our initiative team. So basically we go out into the community, and sometimes we're just listening for what some of the problems are and really getting to know the communities, because we really believe strongly that communities know what's best for them, and every community is a little bit different. And so we really try to go in and understand what the problems are. And then sometimes, so we're learning, sometimes we're going in and we're actually lending some elbow grease and helping. And then at other times we're identifying areas where United Way funding might help make a difference on a problem that a community is facing. And some examples of that might be right now I'm working with an amazing team in Alberg, and it is Alberg. They've trained me well.
Do you
It's
spell
not
it with
Alberg,
an
it's Alberg.
H or a no?
It is an H.
Yeah.
Working with an amazing team down there. They just got a federal grant for $150,000 to ensure that children are ready for kindergarten. And so we're really working as a team with community partners there, with community members there, with care providers, folks from the schools, to just really identify what some of those barriers are. And I'm sure you can imagine, Joe, that there are many barriers that might get in the way of children being ready for kindergarten. And so it's really amazing to just be a part of this group, really trying to understand what are those barriers specific to Alberg, and then what are some of the solutions that really work for Alberg. And it's just an amazing process to be part of. And there are other places that are also working. We're working with a group in Richford who is also just starting that process of looking at kindergarten readiness, and also here in Franklin County with Sheldon, with Swanton, and with Franklin City. So it's really one of the amazing examples of what we're doing. Another thing we're doing is working with teens in the Teen Institute, helping them to learn leadership skills and to come together with other students across the county, Franklin County, in order to enhance the wellness of their peers. And it's just so amazing to see those students and the skills and the potential that they have, and bringing those to bear to help their other students. It's just such a privilege. Another example is my colleagues working with foster grandparents across the 3 counties, and really matching those seniors in classrooms with students, and just hearing the amazing stories that come out of how they positively affect those students, and how the seniors are also positively affected. It's just every day, just hearing these stories and being part of this gives me great joy. And then I think working with a group of seniors in Richford right now to enhance some of the services for seniors. And it's a great example of seniors coming together to see what some of the problems are and to solve those problems. And it's just been an amazing experience. And I think a lot of folks sometimes think that the United Way is about just providing funding for programmings, which is an amazing part of what we do. But I think it's also equally valuable and important to have those staff in the community really listening and really helping bring our expertise and also our ears and our humble listening to try to bring the community together to solve their own problems. And I think for me personally, in a world where we listen to the news and it's really tough and we feel like there's just so many problems we hear about every day with no solutions, working in the community level with folks and really being part of those solutions, it's just a real honor. It makes me feel great every day.
Well, that's terrific. And you hit on something that I think is very important that some people don't understand, and that is when someone volunteers, no matter what the program is that's trying to help in the community, is that the individual that is volunteering and giving gets just as much as the individual that they're trying to help. And I think that gets lost in the mix. So for anyone who's never volunteered for an organization, I think if they gave it a chance, they would really feel something that they may never have felt before. It's an amazing, I think, transformation for someone.
I think so, and I think it's such a gift of vulnerability for someone to allow you to help them. And it's vulnerable to be able to say, I'm going to let you into my life, and I'm going to let you see my vulnerability and help. And just to be aware of that amazing gift that someone is giving you, and that opportunity to feel how great it is to give to someone. It is an amazing partnership. And then to see people really working hard to solve the problems in their community.
Yeah, you're right. It's all grassroots, and it's where things really do happen.
I agree.
It's really do happen. Now, among the NCSS programs over the years that the United Way has helped the organization with by funding, and it's very much appreciated, is Camp Rainbow. And this is a camp that was specifically started because young people on the autism spectrum and with other intellectual and developmental disabilities really didn't feel comfortable going to other camps because of their particular situation. So Camp Rainbow was started, and it's really with the help of the United Way that has been able to continue. Could you explain from the United Way's perspective why involvement in this initiative has been important?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that part of the United Way's goal and mission is that
just gonna say.
every student
All.
reach their full potential, and a recognition that everyone in our community has amazing value, and given that opportunity to reach their potential, it can give to the community and be a very successful part of our community. And I think in that situation, another value is really understanding that sometimes the classroom, enhancing experiences outside of the classroom, and for these students really to be able to be in a learning environment where it's safe, where they feel comfortable, where it's fun, and they're getting to learn in a way that really meets their individual learning needs. I just think that's a powerful example, and that's my hope for all the students across the counties, and I think especially Camp Rainbow, we feel really great about being able to support that.
Well, I can tell you we greatly appreciate the partnership on that.
Joe, can I just add something? I
Yes.
think Camp Rainbow is one of many great examples of a community defining